Hey, what's up guys? I'm just doing a little video for fun here, showing off a project I'm working on, just showing you a little bit of my workflow. So this is a drum bass track for a production CD. I'm using a lot of samples from a sample CD called Smoker's Delight, and you'll see how I worked them in here. So if you look at the clips at the bottom, these kind of spacey chords. And actually, if I take off the effects on them, they're really not quite as interesting. You know, just reverb, delay, a little bit of high pass to kind of fill up the space more. So moving on, I have an EP here. And that drum loop is also from Foundation, which is by the same producers as Smoker's Delight. And I thought that that really fit in. It's 90 BPM. My project tempo is actually 180. And that's because I'm going to be doing some fast drums here in a bit. These drums are actually really simple. I have a nice layered kick. It's got two distinct layers to it. The high sort of click and the low pound. The effects, FL's Blood Overdrive, fast distortion, a little notch, and taking off some of the sub frequencies as well as some of the higher ones. Snare sound is the second layer. You can hear it's got a ton of reverb on it. Without any effects, it's a sort of realistic, ringy snare sound, along with this short hit, which is just a one shot that I found, you know, in some random download. Now, if I turn the effects back on, you see a compressor here. It's a free one, and that's really adding more crack to the sound, so to speak. Some sort of gated reverb. And then, once again, EQ, high passing to get rid of those low frequencies. Then simple hi-hat, closed hi-hat. Nothing special about these, just roll off and reverb. Then I have variations on this pattern later, for example. You'll hear some of those fill sounds are from another snare, which is just, it's from the Smoker's Delight collection again. It's processed slightly differently. It doesn't have all that compression, distortion, just mainly this EQ to bring out the sort of the woody sound rather than the ring, which is what I was going for with the original snares. This pattern is a loop from a loop library, Abstract Breaks. You see I have these chords here at the bottom going on the whole time, except this time around I changed that chord just by taking the original 06 sample and pitching it down. FL can do that pretty easily. Let's see. You can see the channel settings. It's pitched down in this one. Nothing too exciting about that, because actually the notes in the arpeggio pattern that I had going earlier, which I think, let's see if I can find them. Here we go. So these notes actually fit both the original chord and the chord that I just added. Anyway, so the mix goes on. I have a little bit of sequence sax here, which I'm hoping to get a live player for. This part's really atmospheric. I added new chords at the bottom from the same Smoker's Delight collection and layered in a new pad. which is the Pro 53 synth. It's basically just pulse width modulation, 2 oscillators, heavily filtered, with a little bit of EQ again to cut the low end. You probably should be seeing a pattern here by now. And so most of this is all kind of repeated, just with slight variations. You can see the drum pattern gets more varied as it goes along. And then, you know, I think I added some new instruments. This is a part that I'm working on now. I have this sort of simple lo-fi clap thing going on, no effects of any kind, all from Smoker's Delight. And then along with that, I'm playing the same jazz ride as before. You can see it at the bottom in the audio clips. But this time around, I have Deep Loop Glitch. This is an excellent free plugin. It adds all sorts of effects. It's really easy to overdo, but in this case I just have 41% going on. It's otherwise randomized. I turned off the tape stop and the crusher and the gator because they're all really corny. But it sounds great in small doses. Adds a little bit more interest to the same loop. And as the mix continues, I'm bringing back some of the earlier drum sounds in this pattern, except the sequencing is a bit different this time. Sort of to match the feel of the jazz ride loop. I'm thinking about getting a new sound for the guitar here going on, which is the Wave Station VST, but it's kind of lo-fi in a bad way, so I might switch that out for either a live play or something else. And then the mastering here, since some people were asking in the thread how I get my mixes so loud, I had to turn it down for the purposes of recording, so it's 4 decibels quieter than it normally would be. But you can see I start out with a stereo unit, a stereo channel strip I should say, lowering the mix by 5 decibels, so everything's coming in pretty quiet. But you'll see it'll get louder here, I think. Next up, some heavy compression with T-Rax compressor for a sort of an analog feel, stereo enhancement. This isn't a traditional compressor, so there's no threshold value, so it's a little bit confusing to use, but basically the input drive, you know, you can kind of decrease that to decrease the amount of compression. Then there's TLS Pocket Limiter, which is a free plugin, Windows only. It's putting a little gain on the entire mix and just serving as a brick wall. And then TLS Maximizer is sort of a secret weapon. It's also free, Windows only, and it can really bring a lot of volume into the mix. But right now I'm not really using it because I think the volume is okay. Yeah, you can hear because the mix is so slammed anyway from the compressor going into the limiter, the maximizer's not doing that much. But normally you can get, you know, a couple decibels out of it without any sort of serious pumping or distortion. So anyway, I got 1 minute and 40 seconds done on this. I'm going to keep working on it, maybe sub out some of the sounds, and I'm sure you'll be getting a hold of it sometime soon. Later, guys.